or you know what, better yet, get something the right way, because you guys are going to want to take some notes tonight. Our goal tonight is very simple. Not only we're going to be talking about our amazing new app that, by the way, is not really necessarily that new anymore. It's been beta tested. It's been launched. Most importantly, and Ben will share some stats, it's been used, utilized. It's working better than I think even, well, I'm sure Ben will tell you he expected it since he developed it, but I was like, it's working better than I think any of us have ever thought. But the other thing is we want to teach you some stuff. I mean, we're going to teach you today how to use this thing. We're going to teach you that, it's not just technology, but it's like, how do you use this technology to go out there and find deals? Why would you want to use this technology to find deals? I mean, let's face it, it's not the only way to find deals, but Julie here and myself, we will vouch that we feel like this is one of the key components, one of the key things in terms of not only finding deals, but finding the right kind of deals. So get something to write with. Like I said, we want to leave you guys with value tonight beyond just showing you something that's really cool, but something that we could teach you, that you could go out there and utilize over and over.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter where you are. If you're Eugene from Chicago, Illinois, if you're from Shane, he's right here in Cumming, Georgia. I mean, no matter where any of you guys are, this app is perfect for any location in the continental United States. I believe, right? Alaska and Hawaii. In there?
We don't have coverage in Alaska and Hawaii yet.
Okay, cool. So
it figures Julie will figure out the only state out of the 50 states. Julie will pick the one state.
What else don't we do?
Yeah. First, let's talk about all the things then.
Sorry, guys.
But you know what? Interesting that Julie says this. We're going to be real with you guys here. And in the next couple of minutes, as we get this thing launched, we're going to tell you guys the reality. We're not going to hide anything. We're going to release all the stats. We're going to share with you how people are utilizing this. We'll share with you guys a couple success stories. And like I said, I think when we're done here tonight, our goals are very simple. You guys will see just how important this tool that we have here for you guys is. So really what we want to do, let's go ahead and launch into this thing, because we're really here for one reason and one reason only. We collectively have been talking about, and Ben, when did we initially start talking about this? 6 months ago. About 6 months ago. And Ben and I, for those of you that have been following us, have a great history. He and I really beyond just technology. We've become friends. We've known each other for many, many years. We've actually run another separate business, a real estate business, but unrelated to this. So he and I, formed a relationship, a great friendship that we've stayed in touch with. And about 6-7 months ago, Ben and I would just get together once a week, and we would just kind of like talk. Ben is like, man, you guys are doing some really cool things there. And I've always been beyond impressed with what Ben was able to do on the technology side. And, somewhere along the line, we just started thinking, we have a skill set here. We have a need here. We support partners literally all over the United States. So we're always looking to bring better and more useful things for them to use. On the other hand, Ben has this incredible skill set. And so as we started talking, we just started realizing, there is this technology that we could put together. Like if we could not take something off the shelf and let that technology tell us what we could do, but if we could start from scratch, like if we could design that one tool that any investor, like Julie said, whether you're in Oregon or you're in Atlanta or if you're in Ohio, if you could start from scratch and start developing and start layering things and start developing a tool that anybody could use that would bring value to anybody, what would that look like? Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you the cool, like a personal note, the cool thing for me as it related to Ben, I knew Ben could do it. So Ben and I would get together once a week, talk about this kind of dream build almost. And then I'd go back, I'd run to Julie and I'd say, I think he could do it. And she's like, yeah, but it would be cool if it could do this. And it'd be cool. And then next week, Ben and I would meet and I'd say, Ben, but you know what? It'd be cool if it could do this. And every time, I don't think there was ever a time where Ben said, well, no, we can't do that. Everything has to be released at a certain time and date. We know that. And so what started happening, guys, this kind of vision that Ben and I had became a reality one day, because there was a point in time where I'm like, Ben, dude, let's put it together. We've talked enough about it. There's no question that this is the kind of tool that every investor would want to utilize. let's start putting this together. And so from the time, Ben, you started programming this to the time we released beta, was that another about 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, there's about 4.
Yeah, so about 4 months into the development process. Again, we constantly get together, we'd strategize through this. And I would say Julie was kind of really the spearhead behind this, because Julie's so involved with our partners all over the United States. So she was also getting feedback from our field, where she was getting feedback from the people we were doing deals with and the people we wanted to do deals with. And this app, this product that started to develop, it started to take shape. And I will tell you guys, and this is kind of and this is not in a selfish, not in a show-offish kind of way, but I think Julie will validate this, that as this tool started coming together, we here corporately, I mean, we just started feeling like this is the tool that we could all put our name behind. I mean, we felt strongly enough that we felt that even our whole model, as we do things here, it could shift as a result of this tool. I mean, we felt like, okay, we're having our partners all over the United States do all these functions. And then we said, look, we could actually utilize this tool and put all these functions under one roof. You know, we're having all these partners all over the United States run around and gather, let's say, information from different sources. And they're like, well, why? Let's do something that they could do everything under one roof. So as this thing started taking shape, and before we even released it, I could tell you, we were here 100% all bought in. But now the reason we're here tonight, guys, we want to really, number one, we want to share. We're going to share this with you guys. And I can just tell you, if you're listening to us tonight in a live environment, in a recorded environment, if you're at all serious about real estate, you've got to get this tool. But we want to give you an update. I mean, we're about 5 weeks through the beta and about 2 weeks through the initial launch, right?
1 week.
Yeah, 1 week launch.
Well, 1 week. So we're about
literally a week to the day.
Perfect. So we're about 5 weeks through the beta, where we took a selected group of people and let them beta test it, and about a week into an actual launch. And so we wanted to kind of get real tonight. We wanted to, like, do people actually use this thing? You know, because let's face it, we're not the only people that have developed a real estate product. We're not the only people developed an app. And I'm sure Ben could tell you thousands of apps that have been developed that sit on the store shelf somewhere with like zero utilization, zero usage, zero people. And so we want to tell you guys, like, and let me just tell you, and Ben's going to take over here in a second, this thing is being used. And this, and when it comes to real estate and somebody using something, that means it works. I mean, that's really the bottom line, because the business that we're in, there's enough things to do in real estate that you're not going to do something that doesn't work. You know, I mean, we as investors have enough things to do to get deals completed that if somebody gives us something and we're like, well, this is a waste of time, guess what? Out the door it goes. But what I'm telling you is, when we release this, when people started utilizing it, when people started like seeing what's possible with this, I mean, people are like using this beyond our wildest imagination. And so what this is really, from kind of a layman's perspective, just, I'm an investor. You know, I'm not an expert when it comes to apps. I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to technology, but what I am is an investor. And I will tell you, as an investor, there are certain things you need to do in this business. There's certain things that are just like non-negotiables. You know, you cannot be in this business and not have to do some kind of marketing, right? I mean, if you think you're going to get in real estate and you're going to just like sit back the way we're doing tonight and deals are going to show up, it ain't going to happen, right? In real estate, you're going to need to perform tasks. Okay, real estate is not like one and done. You know, a dry cleaning business is one and done. You got a client come in, you take the clothes, you wash them once, you go back, you maybe never see that. Real estate, you have to create tasks. In real estate, you have to know how to stay in touch with people. You have to know how to follow up. Real estate is also a real-time business, meaning there's been, you know, for 20 years I've been doing this business, and I can't tell you how many times I've been just like randomly driving through somewhere, and just because of kind of what I already know what to look for, and Julie's going to explain to you what you could look for. But there's been times I drive by a property, I'm like, this is a property I need to go after. Well, guess what I used to do? I used to like pull over my car, get a notepad out, you know, start having people honk their horn behind me. I would, you know, find the address. Of course, I can't find the address because, you know, that mailbox doesn't have an address on it because it's an older property. So I'd have to go a little bit further, and I have to do a U-turn because they didn't have an address either. Then I have to do all this research. So there's those things, right? For 20 years, I come across properties that I'm like, God, how do I get what else do you have to do? You got to know how to get a hold of owners in real estate, right? It is absolutely undeniable that even if I find the most perfect property out there, if I cannot somehow touch base with that owner, if I can't figure out who owns it or how to get a hold of them, worthless. All totally worthless. So anyway, there's steps in this business that need to be done, and they need to be executed, and they need to flow flawlessly. And the one thing I always tell people, and to a certain degree, this is why Julie and I have this building, because these steps are kind of like big and complicated, and we have employees here, in essence, executing these steps. And what the Deal Driven app allows us as users and you as users to do, it allows you to execute all of these steps literally from the palm of your hand, right from here. And can you imagine packaging everything that needs to be done in a real estate business? And right here, I mean, literally every function I just said, that you could literally figure out how to market from here. You could literally identify properties from here. You could literally identify through functions like Skiptracing who owns these properties. And if all of a sudden you talk to somebody tonight and they say, call me in a week, you could just hit a button here and it gives you the ability to do that. Guys, honestly, this is what this 10,000 square foot building for Julie and I is. It's executing those functions. I mean, I was kind of kidding around, but heck, maybe if we had something like this, years ago, we wouldn't have needed to hire.
No, we wouldn't have needed a lot of things.
I was just going to say, maybe this is not what our employees need to hear tonight. But who knows? I mean, I think it is possible that we would have kind of rethought and we would have restructured how we even set up our own business. Because I could tell you, operating out of a 10,000 square foot space, as opposed to operating out of something like this, forget the cost. It's the efficiencies, it's the effectiveness, it's the stress level that goes down.
Mm-hmm.
It's, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, what we're about to share, what Ben's about roll out today. And I want before even Ben starts, and I know I'm taking way too much time here.
No,
I want Julie to talk just a little bit about what I would consider to be the key function in this app. And that is like, how do you go out there and how do you even identify that key property, right? Because one of the key functions of this app, the Deal Driven app, is that it literally allows you to identify properties, the right kind of properties out in the marketplace, and literally start your marketing efforts, which by the way, guys, I just described to you 90% of the business. It's identifying the right deal and starting your marketing efforts towards it. So Julie's going to discuss how you could go out there right where you live and identify the right kind of properties. And then Ben's going to talk about how this tool will allow you to do what needs to be done with those properties, which is put them in your system, put them into your, whether it's your follow-up or immediate deals, and close on those deals. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you're at all serious about this real estate business, one other thing I want to tell you, for 20 years, just random people would launch products in real estate, and they would call me to endorse the product. Okay. And and I usually didn't know the product. I didn't know the developers, but it kind of sort of sounded, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, as a 20-year veteran, as a veteran of thousands of deals, I am proud to say this is not an endorsement. This is something we wanted to partner. This is that important. This is something that we wanted to take a partial ownership in, because this Deal Driven app is an absolute game changer. So sometime here today on the screen, it's very simple. And again, just the cool thing is we're so confident, we're giving you the ability to test drive this thing for free. No cost, test drive it, see how much you love it. Anytime you can go to www.dealdriven.com, and there you could test it for a free drive. It's on us. We'll pay all the costs associated with while you're test driving it. That's how confident we collectively feel in this app. So Julie, talk a little bit about this whole concept of driving for dollars and where this whole thing really spun in the initial.
Well, I'll tell you what it is for me, guys, and for those of you out there, because a lot of you that are out there and you're looking to get in this business and you're having a very hard time getting started, it's not for the reasons why you think. The reasons you're not successful is because you're not executing your processes. Okay. What do I mean by that? You're like, okay, well, I want to be a real estate investor. This is what I want to do. I've done training. I've done this, but to execute every tiny little step, is just for one person by themselves. I mean, because tonight we're talking about like us and we had employees and we had this, but we got started, we didn't. And let me tell you, when you start a business like this, executing your processes is the hardest thing you're ever going to do, right? So let's say you decided, all right, I'm going to go find some houses. Great. You go find them. Then you have to come back and search the tax records to figure out who owns the property. Then you may want to, find their mailing address. Then you may want to skip trace them to find their owner. Then you have to have a separate CRM to learn how to call them. Then, it's an enormous amount of things. However, what this app does, in my opinion, is it more so kind of gets you off your butt, right? And excuse my French there. The thing is that there's no excuses for you now. It's too easy. Literally when I got started, which was only like 7 years ago, literally I went around with a notebook in my truck, and tried my best just not to wreck, right? And keep up with all my little scratch papers and get them back to to my house and look up all this information. Whereas now, and by the way, guys, even though we have partners across the United States, we launched this app last week and I went driving for dollars. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and didn't go Sunday because I could not believe it. If I would have had this app when I got started, I guarantee you I'd have done, I wouldn't say twice as many deals, but a lot more than I did. Mm-hmm. And I certainly would have saved myself a ton of money, because money is not always measured in the actual physical act, it's your time too. A lot of you out there have a full-time job already. You've got a family. You're trying to build a business on your own. Your time is money, right? Having something that makes your life more efficient is worth its weight in gold. So the one thing about this app, and there's tons of other features, but one thing in particular that I love, and Ben's going to show you here in just a second, is once you understand, driving for dollars, and you know what type of properties that you are looking for, it is so simple to literally point your phone in the direction, find the house you're looking for, add it to your list inside of your app, skip trace to find the owner, call them, text them, do whatever you're going to look to do. And go from there. Y'all, that is crazy. You don't have to go to 5 to 10 different websites to accumulate all this information. So Ben, show them exactly, what it looks like, from the beginning, some of those cool features they have.
I'd love to. I gotta be honest, I get more and more excited about this product every time those two talk about it. What you just heard is about now 20 minutes of what I heard for hours and hours, especially from Pete. He mentioned we've been friends for a long time. We would go out and have a beer. You get a couple beers in him and he will not shut up about real estate no matter what you do. And eventually it started to sink in, and a couple things occurred to me, and he obviously already knew this, is it's hard. It's a hard process. There's lots of steps that have to be repeated over and over again, like Julie said. But to me, it sounded like something that needed a software solution. That's been my entire career, has been building software solutions in a lot of different fields. But just hearing them talk, hearing the fact that there's obviously repeatable processes that need to be done makes me think software. So that's how this idea was born. I mentioned before, it was kind of like a fire hose of information from these guys. I ingested as much as I could, built some software. They gave me more, built more software. And what I'm going to show you now is a result of that. Only since we've mentioned it already, we did launch a week ago. Just to give you a couple of cool stats, because they get us super excited. We were looking at them in the meeting before here. We've had over 6,000 property searches in 1 week from new people. We've had hundreds of skip traces, hundreds and hundreds of properties added. And I'll show you guys later the distribution map of searching, but it's the entire country, except for we don't have a lot in the Northwest. So if you're here from the Northwest, sign up and get us some activity up there. But it's pretty amazing to see the usage of this product. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to assume at this point that you've already got an account. If you don't, dealdriven.com, you can get it set up. Literally takes 30 seconds. And when you first log in, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see an empty screen. And I need to share my screen. Thanks for the reminder.
I still
Who's
see
the tech person here?
I do this for a living. I get so excited, I forget the basics. So fortunately you didn't miss anything except to log in, and I will show you that again. All right. So gonna log in and you're gonna see, there we go, that looks good. You're gonna see an empty screen and you're gonna see a button that says click to add properties to your list. So without getting into too many of the details, let's just go right there because I know that's probably what you're most interested in. What that's gonna do is take you to a map view. And if you're using your smartphone, it will take you to a map view centered on your current location. If you're using a desktop like I am at home, it will eventually take you to a center location, but you'll have to tell it where you want to search since you're sitting in your house. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Faux Creek Drive in Roswell, Georgia. So what I'm doing is I'm typing in this box in the upper left-hand corner, just some portion of the address. We use Google helps us through the magic of their search engine, figure out what location you want faster than you might even know sometimes. So I'll go to Faux Creek Drive, and unfortunately our internet's a little slow here right now. There we go. So the map gets immediately centered and drops a pin right on Faux Creek Drive. These little grids you see here are property lines. So each one represents a property. So this is one way that you can look at properties, or you can go over here and change this view so that it shows little boxes that represent the houses. It's completely up to you, your personal preference. I tend to like the property lines only because they're easier to click on.
I do too. I love the property lines.
Yeah. So I'll show you how this works. Each one of these is a property and each one I can click on. And you notice it takes about 1 second. We pull up the full property address in case you didn't already know it. The owner or owners, in this case, there's only one owner. The valuation, which is actually updated every single month based on comparables and sales of similar properties in the area. So it's a good valuation. It's not like a Zillow wild valuation. The equity is based on the mortgage information that we have for the properties. We have tax records and mortgage information for 154 million residential properties nationwide. So we're able to get those numbers for you. You can see all the current mortgage information. From that, we calculate the equity percentage. You can see the last sale of the property and how much it sold for. And then if you're interested in looking further, go ahead, Julie.
No, I just wanted to show them here, you know, when you're looking at this, and you're out driving and this was a house that you've seen, why this would be such a great lead.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Johnny Howard bought that property back in 2004. Maybe you're looking at it and you've seen it. Maybe the gutters are hanging off, right? Maybe there's you know, trash in the yard. That property has 60% equity. Okay. So if you're looking to either wholesale, you're looking to buy, fix and sell properties, do term deals, buy and holds. This is a great, I mean, just with one click of the button, guys, I mean, one click, well, you know how much somebody owes on their mortgage and whether or not this particular property is worthy of you marketing to. I mean, it's absolutely crazy without even going any further.
Absolutely. And now let's say after you've made that determination, you see the 60% equity, you realize it's something you want to pursue. If you click on this window, we give you a lot more. We'll give you all of the basic characteristics of the property. And again, this comes from tax records, so it's very accurate. You know, beds, baths, number of stories, the year it was built, the zoning, sewer information, AC, garage, that type of thing. And then we give you a bunch of financial information over and above what I showed you before. Besides the equity evaluation and last sale, we give you all the tax information, the tax assessments, the last year that tax was assessed, total outstanding loans, etc. And then even more importantly, we give you well, maybe not more importantly, but as important, we give you the owner's name and address, which may not be the same as the property. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. So this is where you're going to be, you know, reaching out to this person. And then we also give you a little bit more detail about the property address, including the parcel number. If, for example, you want to go to your county assessor, look up tax records, we'll give you that reference number. And then if I want to take it a step further, meaning I do want to pursue this property, my next step would be to add it to a list. So I'm going to do that. Right now, I'll just add it to my all properties list. It's kind of a catch-all. Just a single click of a button, takes half a second. And now you'll notice on the map, I've got a little red icon here, which tells me now and later that I have a property there. And I'm immediately presented with three options. I can go view its details. I can grab a Google photo of it. If I click that, it'll actually go out and grab the satellite view and, if available, the street view of the property, which are obviously not all you want, but it's a good start. The last option is to add a photo. If I'm on a smartphone, I can take a picture of the property or as many pictures as I want and upload them right here at the same time. So let's go ahead and dive into the details of this property. Just click that button. And now this is a view of essentially what you saw on the prior screen, but organized a little better, much easier for you to view, and also completely editable. So any of these values that you see that maybe you have independent information, or you've talked to a realtor and you've got an even more accurate valuation, or you've got updated mortgage information via some means, you can update that data here. And that data is saved forever for you and only you. You're not updating everybody else's data, just yours. So this is kind of where you'll do your tracking. So let's see, we've talked about characteristics, financial, owner details, all of this. In the bottom right-hand corner, we give you an unlimited notes area where you can type as many notes as you want across multiple lines or a single line.
You spelled that wrong.
Yeah, I did.
I'm sorry.
I was waiting for spell check. Actually, how many people type SDJKF? So, and these notes are saved forever. When you're on your smartphone, you can pull them up there. When you get home to your desktop, they're there. They're on your iPad. And I'll show you another thing here. I'm going to make a mental note here that I can't type. Okay, I've added a note. Now let's go look at my list of properties. It's only got one item, but you'll notice that note is right here. So we try to make it as easier for you to quickly refer to your notes, no matter how you're viewing the property. Let me jump back into details and show you some of the other things that are in here. We've got another tab over to the right here called owner. I bet you can guess what that is. That's going to be the owner or owner's first, middle, and last name from their tax records and their mailing address. This one, the mailing address is the same as the property address. But let me find another one for you and give you an idea where that's even more useful. It's on the same road. It's 425 Foe Creek Drive. I looked this up earlier, so I cheated a little bit. I'm going to add that to my list. Go to its details, and you'll notice something different. The owner's address is not the same as a property address. So that's where you're going to want to mail your letters. That's where you're going to reach out to where this person, they don't live in their home.
And also what that tells me is the most motivated individuals are people that own properties that they don't live in. Right. So even though you could go after properties where the mailing address is same, that to me says this is a hot lead, right? It's got the equity. They've got a different mailing address than where they actually live. I mean, it's incredible that you can find that so quickly and easily.
There you go. Okay, so now, and as I've mentioned, this is tax record. So occasionally you're going to see things like you see here. For this last name, it's obviously a combination of their first and last name. So you're going to want to make edits like that as you see them. Clearly, this person's name is actually Martin Thompson. So I'm going to change that. His wife or spouse or significant other is probably Cheryl. Again, this is tax records, but let's make that edit. And let's go down and look at some of this other information. We can see all of their mortgages for their privacy purposes. I will close that, although this is all public information. And now you're going to see phone number, mailing address, email, name, and social URLs. And all of these have red strikes through them. What that means is you can't get those from tax records by default. This is where you're going to want to do what's called a skip trace. If you want to pursue it even further, you want to find this homeowner's contact information. To fill these in, you want to click this button right here that says instant skip trace. So let's do that. And by the way, this is 100% real data. None of this is forged. I get a message that says this action will consume 1 credit. Do you wish to continue? I'm going to say yes. You're going to get a spinner for about 2 seconds. We go out to one of the industry or the nation's leading skip trace providers here, and you're going to get a lot more information than you're accustomed to if you've done skip tracing before. In this particular example, I got 6 phone numbers and 8 email addresses from this one person.
Wow.
Yeah. You'll notice that these have now turned green with the exception of social URLs. I'll cover that in a minute. So let's dive in and take a look. Phone numbers, we got, looks like 6 different numbers of various types, mobiles and landline, even a work phone here. They are generally sorted in order of most likely to be current at the top. So you're going to want to start from the top and work your way down. As you make your phone calls, if you find that a number has been disconnected or is not that person, you can simply click it and delete it. Take it right out of your list so you don't waste time calling it again. If it's a good number, you can click it and create an activity. That activity might be a follow-up phone call, which I'll show you that feature in a minute. Additionally, if you find the phone number through some other means, you go to White Pages or you talk to their neighbor and you get their number, you can add a new one by simply clicking Add Phone, give it a type and the number and add it. And now it's there and it's available for your marketing purposes. I'll show you how to dial straight from the app in just a minute. Let me scroll down a little further and show you that we also found some alternate mailing addresses for this person. No surprise that 425 Foe Creek Drive is one of their mailing addresses because they own that property. This is where they live. And I don't know what this one is, but it would be up for you to figure it out. Maybe you want to send a postcard there just in case that's another one of their homes or a vacation home. Who knows? But this is all somehow associated with this person. Email addresses. We found a whole bunch for this person, 8 of them. Again, use your discretion how you use these, but these are most likely the current email addresses for that person or people related to them. You might catch family members, that type of thing. Alternate names, usually these don't amount to a lot, but in this case it does. Nope, nothing different there, but it's always worth taking a look just in case they've had a different name for their mailing. And then social URLs. In this particular case, we did not find some, but occasionally, or even more than occasionally, you might find their LinkedIn or their Facebook profile or even a Twitter profile. So you always want to check these social URLs.
Do you guys get this? Like, and I just want to make sure I'm driving this point home here to you guys. Marketing is actually the key to this business. What you have the ability here is you have the ability to call somebody. You have the ability to send them mailers. You have the ability to email them. And email marketing is wonderful with auxiliary choices. And on a lot of these, you get social URLs. It's a little different, right? The point that you could go directly to their social URLs, become friends with them, do whatever you're going to do with maybe some internet-based marketing, but absolutely incredible.
It truly is. We're using, again, I mentioned we're using one of the best Skiptrace providers in the country. Now, since we were Skiptracing, let me show you how easy it is to call or email those people straight from the app. What I've done here, we were over here on the map view where you do all your searching. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see list. This switches you back to the list view. So it's very easy to toggle back and forth. The list is where all of your properties sit. You'll notice here that on 425 Faux Creek Drive, the one we just Skiptrace, it shows that I have 6 phone numbers and 8 emails. I can click this, and this is especially useful when you're on your smartphone. And then let's say I want to text that person. Click that button. Now again, I'm on a Mac here, so it's going to open up my Messages app. But if you were on your iPhone or your Android, it's going to fill in a pre-populated text message to that person. You know, I was just driving by your property at, insert the address. I'm interested in buying it. You know, give me a call if you're interested. You obviously have the chance to edit that message before you send it. But the fact is it pre-populates for you. So again, we were talking about how you've got to repeat a process. This is one of the things you're going to repeat over and over again. Let's make it as easy as possible. Also, if it's a regular number, not a text, I might want to just call them. If I click that, again, it's going to open FaceTime on mine, but on your phone, it's going to open your phone dialer with the number pre-populated, hit dial, immediately make a phone call. Same thing with email. Simply pick the email you want to send an email to, click it. It's going to open up your email program with a subject line pre-populated. A couple other things I want to show you here. While you're working within the list view instead of the map view, I can do my skip tracing from right here. I can just simply check it, click that button, hit instant skip trace, and it'll populate it just the same way you saw. And then whenever I want to drill back into the details, I just click this arrow here. It takes me right back to the detail view that you just saw. So it's very easy to go back and forth. So let me slide back here and show you a couple other things here. On the list view, and this will make more sense as you have more and more properties in your list, we show you what we think are the most important columns for you to be able to see really quickly: the estimated value, the owners, and the last sale. You can sort this list by any of those: date added, updated, valuation, or equity. So if, for example, that on a particular day you're working with your high equity properties, sort them at the top. Date updated is very useful as you're making updates to properties, adding notes, updating phone numbers. It's going to change the date that that property was updated. It's going to bubble to the top of your list, which will kind of cue you and your team that these are the apps with the most activity. You might want to pay the most attention to them. Additionally, you can set statuses on properties. All of these are in a status called new because we've just added them, but I can select one or more properties, go to this little actions menu here, set status, and set it to any of these 7 statuses. And we're actually going to introduce the ability for you to add your own statuses. But these are the ones that, through the breadth of knowledge I was able to gain from these folks, are the most useful statuses to have. I'm marketing a property. I've got an owner meeting set. The owner's not interested. I've sent an offer. I want to archive the property, or just simply pause it. If it's something you just want to keep in your list and revisit it later, you can set these statuses. Let me show you what happens. As soon as I do that, it's going to update in my list. So you or your team can see immediately that that property is being marketed. If I go look at that property on a map, it's going to tell me that that property is in marketing right here. So it's very easy to tell. And I can also filter my list. So I'm only looking at properties that are in a certain status. For example, if I go back to my list here, let me refresh really quick. I can change it so that I'm only seeing properties that are in marketing. And again, this will make a lot more sense when you have tens, hundreds, or thousands of properties in your list. You're going to have to do features like this. So this is a quick way to just zero in on properties that are in a different status. Let me go back to all. And once you start adding even more properties, you're going to quickly realize you're going to want to organize these properties in multiple ways, not just by their status, but maybe you want to organize by the source of the property. The bird dog you had out driving for dollars for you, you might want to create a list just for them. Or you may want to create a list that's for your super hot leads versus your maybe leads you want to revisit in 6 months. The way you do that is you click on this little button here and you create a new list. I'll just create one called, I'm going to create one called hot leads.
Or you might even want to create lists based on cities that you've visited.
Sure. I'll create another called driving for dollars. You can have unlimited lists and you can organize your properties in any way you see fit. So let's say, for example, 425 Faux Creek Drive. I want to indicate that I found it, it's a hot lead. So just like before, I select that property and go to actions. In this case, I'm going to add to list, hot leads. You get a little spinner because it takes a second. And now that property is in that list. Now let's say I want to work in my hot leads list. I click that same button. I click on hot leads and I'm switching over to that list now. So none of my other properties are going to show up. It's kind of like your own fresh view. And you can have as many of these as you like.
Ben, while you're doing this, I just want to point out something for those of y'all that are watching. What Ben is going through tonight is real estate. I mean, there's no fluff in here. There's no like, well, you could do this piece or you don't have to do that piece. I mean, this is what you need to do to be successful in this business. And this is for many years ago, we did this. But we just did it by piecemealing it all together. You know, we get the owner's information from this service. We'd, you know, skip trace from here. We'd identify properties by sending somebody out there. Guys, this is all literally done by click of a button right through either your laptop or your phone. I mean, this is literally revolutionary. What this does is it brings everything, like I keep on saying, under one roof. And it gives you the kind of information that you vitally need in order to do deals.
And it's actually cheaper than any other way of doing it too.
No question.
Because whenever we had to source all of this information that we used to get out in the field, or maybe we were buying lists or something like that, we'd have to get them from all of these different sources. And those sources costed more than this does.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know how you put this together at this price. I really don't. I'm excited though, because I'm doing deals. And actually, we're closing our first deal next week from someone that gathered a property from our deal driven app.
That is beautiful. Yep. And I think Julie uses the app as much as anyone. So when she speaks about it, she means it genuinely. And now I want to go to a little bit more of the details on a property. Now, Pete talked about tasks. Julie talked about accountability and getting off your butt, to borrow her French. Let me show you how that works. We go over to the tasks tab. Now I am looking at 425 Faux Creek. And as you recall, I literally just added it to my system a minute ago, and I've already got 3 tasks to perform. This is part of the accountability thing. First thing I do is I look at this task. It says it's a new property and it needs review. And that's kind of what we did, right? We looked at its equity, its valuation, its ownership information, and we've determined, yay, this is a property I want to proceed with, or maybe not. But in this case, let's assume that I am interested in continuing this property. I'm going to mark that task as complete. So it's one less thing on your to-do list. The next thing I need to do is call the property owner. I may want to do it now, or I may, for a good reason, decide to snooze it for a day, a week, or a month, kind of push it down the road.
I want to call this lead so bad.
Julie's going to close this deal after me. Or I can go in and I can edit this description and make it a little more descriptive, like have Julie call the property owner, or I might give it an assignment date, or I might change it to a different type of task. But this is just, the point here is we pre-populate a few tasks that you're just going to have to do for every property at a minimum. And the last task here is visit the property. And then this might not make sense if you got it driving for dollars, because obviously you've already visited the property. But if you're like us sitting on a couch searching for properties, then at some point you're going to need to visit it. So that's a task we assign. But then what you can do is add new tasks. I can add another task to make a phone call, send a text message, set up a meeting, make an offer, hopefully, defer this deal, abandon the deal, that type of thing. So you can give yourself a bunch of to-dos across all of your properties, and then we'll aggregate them all for you in a big list of things that you need to do every day. And if you've got a team, this will help you with your accountability. You can see if people are getting their tasks done. And also you can have people like Peter and Julie who know what steps actually work. They can review your task and say, hey, this is great. This is a waste of time. You're forgetting to do these 3 things. And they can help you build this kind of workflow into your system that then you just repeat over and over and over again until this numbers game results in a property for you.
You know what? This brings me to the thing here is what makes a truly successful person in anything in life, really. Doesn't matter if it's real estate investing or any type of industry that you're in. Loving the process is what's going to make you successful. Loving the process, but also loving the application that makes your process simpler. This is going to help you love the process more and more and more. And I can tell you, being in love with your processes in this business is what's going to make you successful. I mean, so having an application that makes your life easier so you can enjoy your processes more is only going to take you to the next level anyway.
Absolutely. So there's a few more highlights I want to cover. We want to leave a little time at the end for questions. You notice at the top right, when you're in a property, there's a more button. Here we put photos and documents. And I'll cover this really quickly, but to summarize, for a given property, you can upload as many photos as you want. You can upload them from your desktop, you can get them out of your email, or you can take photos with your smartphone, store them right here. You can use those for your marketing later, for your direct mail campaigns, etc. We don't provide any limits to the number of photos. And you can also always go grab Google's photos. So I'm going to click this button here, get Google Street Photos. And let's just see what that does. This is just pretty nice little demo of how it works. So you get a satellite view and you get a street view. In this case, I would rate this street view as average, but you know, it's a Google car driving around. It's not going to always be perfect, but it's a good start. You're going to want to add your own. And then as you get farther down the process, you're going to start collecting documents. You're going to get estimates and that type of thing. You can upload those documents here. Again, unlimited, any type of document, PDF, Word, whatever you have, Excel spreadsheets, upload them here just to keep them all organized in one place with the property available for your whole team. A couple other things I want to show you. We have help videos, and this is a rapidly growing library. I believe there are 20 some odd videos in there now, but you can always, anytime you're within the app, you can go in and watch amazing videos by people like Pete and Julie, or even a couple by me and others. And there are YouTube videos that we build into the app that explain all of the major features, and we're adding more all the time. So you can expect coaching, instructional videos, how-tos, tactics, all packed here right into the app. Or you can always go to our YouTube channel and see all of the same videos. We want to make it as convenient as possible for you. For those of you who already have the app, as Pete and others have mentioned, we're updating this thing all the time. So you're going to want to go to what's new. I would suggest weekly. And we try to give you a nice little outline of new features, bug fixes, and occasionally we even talk about upcoming features in here. So you're going to want to check that fairly frequently. And lastly, before we step into questions, you can always go and update your account. You want to change your name, email address, change a payment method. If you're going to do the detailed kind of skip tracing we talked about, you will have to add a payment method to buy credits to do those. But that's the only thing that you would have to add a payment method for, other than the monthly fee, which does not occur until after your completely unlimited free trial. And I think that's all I wanted to show, other than if you're not into the dark theme, you can switch it to a light theme, so it's a little easier on your eyes.
I switch it up every day.
Yeah, just to mix it up. And really briefly, I want to show you what it looks like on an iPhone, because everything we just presented literally is also available on your smartphone, and it works the exact same way. So you don't have to be on your desktop. We've got users who've never run this on a desktop, literally. We've got a user, Barry, who uses his iPad, and when he does screenshots, it looks like a desktop. So it's amazing. But all of the same functionality is here. You see, obviously this is a new account over here, so it doesn't have properties, but the property list looks, actually it's the same account. I just refreshed, there we go. So those are the same properties we just added. If I go to the details, it's going to present it in a slightly different way, obviously, because you're on a small device, but everything is still there all the way down to your notes at the bottom. Ownership information, all of your tasks show up right here, just like they do. And I hope it goes without saying, everything is synchronized. If you're out driving around, you make an update, the minute you go home, it's there. There's no waiting for things to synchronize, that type of thing. So I believe that's the last thing I wanted to demo. Would love to take some questions, and I'm hoping we probably already have some in the chat. Rafa, feel free to chime in. Let me know if he's still here. Rafa was having a little party at his house earlier, but I bet he is still here. How much does it cost? That's a great question. Nothing for 2 weeks. You can use it unlimited. Add as many properties, photos, do anything you want for 2 weeks. After that, it's $49.95 a month. You can cancel anytime, no obligation. And I will probably start from the bottom. Just sign up for the program. Oh, that's great to hear, Lucinda. Okay, and of course, Rafa's ahead of me as always, and he already answered the question. Let's see. Rafa, let me know if you have cherry picked. It looks like you've answered a bunch of them already.
Or even if other people can't see them.
Oh, that's a great question by Andy Barber, and that name sounds super familiar. Could you program your software to indicate vacancy, show inventory, or foreclosures? I did not talk about that. We already show vacancy. If you search for a property that's vacant, as soon as you pull up that little information box, we indicate right there that it's vacant. We also give you the USPS mail delivery status, which is somewhere in between occupied and vacant. We can tell you if, for example, that property hasn't received mail in 30, 60, or 90 days, which is a good hint that it either is vacant or maybe becoming vacant, or they're just on vacation in Europe. It's up to you, but those are, additional pieces of information. And I didn't talk about our roadmap, but one of the features we're going to be releasing relatively soon will be a way for you to do broad searches based on criteria that you choose: equity percentage, valuation, bedrooms, bathrooms, geographic location. With that information, we will return whether or not the property is vacant, whether or not it's in pre-foreclosure, that type of thing. And so we'll give you a big list. So that's a great question, Andy. And you hit on something I completely forgot to mention. So that's even better.
There's also a different chat.
Oh.
Hey guys, Rafa here. We have another great question from David Higgs. David asks, how do I get this on my iPhone?
You open up any of your iPhone's browsers. We prefer Chrome because Chrome is frankly awesome. I mean, I know I'm a nerd, but it's the best browser out there. But you can use Safari. Just go to app.dealdriven.com, log in, and that's all you got to do. You don't have to go to an app store. You don't have to worry about updating your app. We push the updates out to you automatically, so you'll always have the latest version. And that's the same for Android, iPad, any device, any major browser. All works the same way. app.dealdriven.com. And if you go to dealdriven.com, we'll show you, we'll tell you that you need to go to app.dealdriven.com if you want to log in. So just remember Deal Driven and you're set. What else you got, Rafa?
They're asking, what about a Windows phone from Andy Barber?
Yes, sir. We run on Windows phones. Windows phones now, as long as it's a modern Windows phone. They were a little rough for a while with the browser support, but the relatively new ones now, they have great browsers. Edge and IE browser works just fine.
Awesome, guys. I'm not seeing a lot of questions right now. Ben, you want to tell them a little bit about some of the stuff that we're working on and that's coming down the line?
Yeah, so I just mentioned the property search, which is kind of going to be a game changer for us because you'll be able to build large lists that you can use to market to. This is for our people that want to send out tens, hundreds, or thousands of mailers. Well, we'll have the tool for you for sure.
Y'all don't even understand. So like literally whenever, and we've spent millions, and I mean millions on direct mail. Do you realize that for every lead we would buy those as somewhere between 8 and 12 cents a piece? Dude, this guy is going to get this to where like you're going to be able to pull lists in the app without, I mean, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So it
is. And she mentioned the lead cost. What we've done is we've just licensed a monthly update to this data every single month. So we're taking that lead cost off of you. And we're letting you, as part of your monthly fee, you can search it to your heart's content. So that's how it's working. So this is really good data. We're just licensing it for you up front, which should make life much easier for you. Let's see. Another feature we are adding is contact management. Now, as you start adding more and more properties, you're going to find yourself being introduced to more and more property owners. You may want to kind of start reaching out to those people, not specifically about a property. For example, you might find a Pete Vexelman of the world who owns a bunch of properties, and you might want to hit him or her up to see if they want to sell any of their properties. Well, that's what contact management is going to do. You'll have a list of people, list of homeowners. We'll cross-reference for you the properties that they own, but you can then go through and send direct mail that way.
Did you talk a little bit about team building?
I have not. That's another feature that we are currently working on. We want you to be able to set up your account and then add team members. And those team members can be out there driving for dollars on your behalf. I mean, We've had people talk about trying to get their Uber drivers or their, Uber Eats delivery folks on their team, because why not? They're driving around all the time. If they see a house where the roof needs repair or the mail's not being checked or the grass isn't being cut, add it to your app and then go out and take a look at it. So you're going to be able to build up teams of those people. You're going to be able to assign them tasks like we showed, and you're going to be able to hold them accountable, and then up to you what kind of arrangement you make with them and how you want to compensate them. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to do that in the tool.
What about Ben? I know a lot of times when I used to do this manually, and trust me, I did this manually. It was a pain in the butt. I'd be like, sometimes I would forget what streets I hit. I would be like driving, and I'm like, was I here? Was I not here? Are you going to address that also?
Yep. That's another upcoming feature where optionally, if you turn it on, we will record everywhere that you're driving. We keep track of all the points, and we save that for you forever. So you can always go back to your phone, see where you've been, and we're going to color code those based on how long it's been. So we haven't picked the color scheme yet, but I'm guessing something like, when you see it in green, it means I was just there. If you see it in red, it means it's been about a year, maybe time to go back. We'll save those forever. We'll always show them for you right there on your iPhone. And we think that's going to be a super useful feature.
Guys, I will tell you this. Things that Ben almost glossed over, because I know we're limited on time. We could spend hours upon here. So it was important to go through it, to at least hit, the top-down view of this thing. It's a lot more intricate. It's a lot more exciting. It's a lot more user-friendly than I think Ben was even able to portray tonight. But I will tell you this, almost every single one of those functions he talked about, we could talk about them for hours on end.
Yeah.
And the importance of them, and how, how much money they cost, and why you need to be doing them. They're all in here. I mean, Julie and I could probably have a 3-hour seminar right now about how important it is for you to skip trace in today's marketplace. We could tell you that is where the deals are found. We could tell you, we could build cases of why, if you're out there running around with real estate agents right now, you're kind of wasting your time.
Looking for REOs.
Looking for REOs, why that's, 4 years behind us. Why working with wholesalers used to be cool, but no longer where the deals are. So we could literally build the case here of why skip tracing is an absolute must. And guess what? I think Ben spent 5 minutes on skip tracing. You know what I mean? The features here are absolutely monumental.
And I do have one more upcoming feature that I want to talk about. We debate among us who came up with the idea. I think I did, but we're not really sure. But it's been it's been a pet project of ours. We're calling it virtual driving for dollars. And we want you to be able to do two things. Number one, obviously, you want to be able to sit at home on your couch and drive for dollars by doing advanced searching on our map and adding properties. But we also want you to be able to drive for dollars in your car without having to actually manually do anything. And what I mean by that is, imagine you've got a 30-minute drive somewhere, and you're going through some neighborhoods where you've seen houses in the past that look like maybe they're in distress, something you want to make an offer on. Put a filter in your phone that says, I'm interested in houses between $100,000 and $300,000, 40% equity or more, between 2 and 4 bedrooms, go. And then as you're driving, it's just going to collect properties. It's going to mark the spot where it finds them, pull the address in, and build your list for you. Then you get home that night, or have someone on your team review them, call them, pick the ones that you want to go visit, assign yourself a task to go visit that property, and then take a look. So that's been a feature that we're working on that we're pretty excited about. We think it's fairly unique, and it'll be very useful. So when you hear virtual driving for dollars, that's one variation of what we're talking about. And maybe Julie did think
it was not. I was just trying to take the credit for it. It was definitely him and Rafa. But I mean, that's absolutely incredible. You've got me so excited. It's gotten dark now. I don't even know if I can go driving for dollars. But I'm like, I'm ready to go play.
She's not kidding. She does. And and she sends great feedback. So when something's broken, lately it's been great. But she found a couple bugs along the way. We fixed them. So everything's working awesome.
Guys, we are excited, over the top excited about what's been happening here. And I could tell you, this is a must-have if you want to be in this business. So guys, remember, all of this, you get to test drive for free for 14 days, no obligation. If you love it, and I promise you, you will absolutely love it, then it's simply $49.95 a month going forward. Absolutely no obligation. You could cancel anytime, even beyond that. But all of this and a ton more to come, all you have to do is go to www.dealdriven.com. There you could find out a little bit more about who we are, a little bit more about the app, and how we can help you. Guys, have anything that we've left out?
I don't think so. I think we covered all the highlights. Like you said, we could have spent hours, but for a 45-minute demo, I think we covered as much as we possibly could. We will keep doing this. So check back often, check our video library. We're creating content every single day.
And definitely take action. If you want to change your life, you got to put one foot in front of the other. And this is a tool that's going to get you to where you want to be. So I encourage you right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it right now. Go to www.dealdriven.com. Get your 14-day free trial and be on your way to your next deal.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Deal Driven. See ya.
See you next
Bye.
time. Take care.